the City Council to order. Today is Monday, June 2nd, 2025. We start with the invocation from Fellowship Bible Church.
Pray with me. Lord, we thank you for your Son, his work on the cross. Lord, I pray that we will be able to honor you through the deliberation that takes place here. Lord, I pray that you give those power, wisdom, strength to do what is right for the good of the community and ultimately for your glory. We thank you for who you are. We pray that you will bless us. In Jesus' name,
Amen. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Holman?
Here.
Caligiuri?
Here.
Dross?
Here.
Hermson?
Here.
Ibrahim?
Here.
Ocean?
Here.
Okay, very good. First item up is the opportunity for community comments. This item is reserved to receive comments from the community for concerns whether or not they're included in the current agenda. Community is encouraged to speak before the mayor and city council, asked to keep statements brief, time limited to no more than 3 minutes. Any questions are to be asked of the city staff, council members, or the mayor prior to speaking to the full council, so concerns can be properly researched and perhaps answered away from the meeting. Comments are to be directed to the mayor and city council only. And so along with this, I would also say one of the items on the agenda tonight is the consideration of who to put in as a new council member, who to appoint. That item is I'm going to be treating it as one where the council has the ability to call out to the audience and bring people up for any questions. So if you as an applicant would like to speak for 2 or 3 minutes before we get to that agenda point, this is the time to do it. Okay, is there anyone who would like to speak tonight?
Good evening, Alicia Helms Oski. I'm here today not to talk about an appointee, but the appointee. Someone who has consistently shown that what it truly means to serve the people of Oskaloosa. That appointee is Nick Ryan. Nick Ryan isn't just asking for your support based on empty promises or polished slogans. He's asking for your support because he already earned your trust through his actions. Time and time again, Nick has stood up for transparency, for property rights, and for the everyday people who often feel ignored or pushed aside. He's been the voice in the room where others have stood silent. He's been the watchdog when others have looked the other way. Let's talk about what makes a great city council member. According to respected civics organization, the best candidates demonstrate a deep knowledge of the government. Nick understands how our city works, and more importantly, how it should work for everyone. Commitment to public service. He's shown up not for praise, but because it's the right thing to do. Effective communication and collaboration. He listens, engages, and builds coalitions rooted in principle, not politics. Respect and civility. Even when standing firm, Nick treats others with respect, showing that leadership doesn't require shouting, it requires integrity. Sound judgment and critical and ethical standards. He has consistently made informed decisions based on facts, not favors. Balance and representation. Nick fights for everyone in the city, not just the loudest voices or the wealthiest pockets. When special interests tried to push the SCRA through, who pushed back? Nick did. When the initiative and referendum provisions of the city charter were at risk, who helped save them? Nick did. He's not for sale, he's not afraid, and he won't back down. Nick Ryan is the appointee who will take that same courage, that same commitment, and that same integrity into the council chambers where it is needed most. So I ask you, if you want a city council member who fights for you, not big business, not hidden agendas, not rubber stamp decisions, then Nick is your guy. Because this isn't just about a seat on the council, it's about the soul of Oskaloosa. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else care to speak tonight?
Hello, Grant Woolman from South Market Street here in Oskaloosa. Right now we are in the middle of a lot of hard work and preparation for an event that takes place on June 14th, and that is Art on the Square. You might notice that there are already windows being painted in landscapes. There's also, what you might not be able to see is inside of the FACE, the Oskaloosa Arts Center, there are two giant puppets being made, one by myself and one by a visiting artist. Also starting today at the George Daly Youth Theater Camp, we started making projects with 30 youngsters from kindergarten through high school, also part of the parade. We will be popping up downtown at all the wonderful events like city band and concerts with tables where people can come up and make projects. I would like to thank the support that I've gotten from community members, including the George Daly Auditorium and FACE and Studio Oski. Also the Iowa Arts Council, because we got a project grant, and the Mahaska County Community Fund, who's all come together to help make this possible. I just invite everybody at 2 o'clock on the square. We're going to have a steel drum band. There's going to be dancing and revelry and fun, and hopefully you will be there to experience the uplifting puppet parade. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak tonight?
Hello everyone, Cleto Day, 1513 Carbonata Road. First of all, I want to thank everyone here for your dedication, your commitment to our city, the entire community. So I know you don't hear that very often, but that is one thing I certainly want to start with. Secondly, I just want to show my support for Nick Ryan as well for the appointment of the vacant council seat today. So Nick is one who is known in the community. He's known to get pretty involved in certain matters, and he does that with passion. And I think he can put that passion to good use serving alongside of you folks up there as well. So just here to show my support and give you guys a great thank you for everything you've done for our city. Thanks.
Thanks, Clint.
Julie Wells, 401 21st Avenue, Oskaloosa. I too would like to thank you guys because anytime you put yourself out there for public service, I mean, that's a job, and we all know that, and you're never going to make everybody happy, so, you know, I appreciate what you do, truly. I'd also like to just say a word for Nick Ryan because I feel like Nick is a people's person, somebody everybody can talk to. I think he's passionate about things, that's what was said, but I also think that he can be professional. I think he's a good balance, you know, between, I don't think he's unreasonable. So I just think he would be a good addition to the city council. He cares about the city, cares about people, and I think he should be given the opportunity to show that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Trent Kerr. I live on North C Street. I also would like to thank you guys for everything that you do for our city. I appreciate it. I would like to tell you that I will support Nick Ryan as a council member, whether you guys put him in a special election. I myself would personally vote for him. I have a lot of friends that are probably too scared to come up here. Other business owners that are probably too busy to do this. But as I talk in the community, he's very welcome to do this as his council member. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want us to take these from applicants now, right, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Nick Ryan, 516 2nd Avenue East. Just want to echo what everybody else said. Thank you all for your service. Those of you who I have been at odds with, some of you I've had to call out pretty publicly, but at the end of the day, I know the job's hard, and I appreciate the time and dedication you make to it. I am here to respectfully ask for your vote and make a clear case for why I am the choice to fill this vacancy. There's strong candidates being considered, all with respectable backgrounds, some from business, others from nonprofit or ministry leadership. And while I do bring some business and managerial experience to the table myself, This decision isn't about who managed the most people or who served on the most internal boards. It's about who's doing the work of public leadership and doing it in full view of the community. It's about who has the independence, the trust, and the lived experience to represent Oskaloosa with clarity, courage, and results. Here's what separates me. I am the only candidate with a public record of success in civic engagement, while others are either just stepping into the arena or currently serving on boards. I've been boots on the ground for years, attending council, SCRAW, school board meetings, pushing for transparency, organizing residents around critical issues. That work has helped stop the South Central Regional Airport from seizing private property, and it's preserved Oskaloosa's initiative and referendum rights, ensuring that people still have a say when government strays from their will. I'm the only candidate with proven independence, no corporate or institutional ties. I answer only to the people of Oskaloosa. I've already shown that I won't stray away from asking hard questions or challenging powerful interests when it matters. I have broad trust and support throughout the community across the board. Working families, small business owners, young professional, longtime residents of this community alike have told me that they want a representative who will fight for them and speak plainly, and that energy is real, and if not appointed, I will run in a special election, and that same energy will follow me there. I represent more than just a resume. I represent real-world resilience. I have had personal battles, addiction, hardship. I've rebuilt, and that gives me more than empathy. It gives me grit. I have lived what a lot of people in this town have lived, and I will fight just as hard for them as I did myself. This isn't just about who looks good on paper. It's about who's already shown up, spoken out, and earned the public's trust. And if appointed, I'll bring transparency, energy, and integrity to the council. I will work with each of you respectfully, but I will never forget who I truly work for, and that is the people of Oskaloosa. A vote for me tells this community that you're listening, that you care, and that you believe their voice matters. A vote for any other candidate is effectively going to be a vote for a special election. I've already brought the will of Oski voters to the ballot box before with the initiative and referendum issue. I am ready to do it again, and I am fairly confident, in fact more confident than ever, that I will win. Thank you again for your service, your time, and I hope I can count on your vote tonight. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else care to speak tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Next up is consideration and adoption of the consent agenda. These are all items that are routine in nature. I did want to draw council attention to one item, item I, which is a resolution setting the date for a public hearing on the plans and specifications and authorizing advertisement of bids for the 8th Avenue West reconstruction project. That hearing is going to happen on July 7th of 2025, and I believe also we had an adjustment to the minutes.
Yeah, I just want to ask for an adjustment to the minutes. I exchanged emails with the mayor and the city clerk this morning about the minutes from the May 19 meeting. The vote on the setting the public hearing for the industrial development consent item. I abstained from that rather than voting for it. That's fine. Thank you.
Okay. That being said, do we have a motion of support for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Caligiuri.
Yes.
Drost.
Yes.
Hermsen.
Yes.
Ibrahim.
There he is.
Ibrahim.
Yes.
Ocean.
Yes.
Almond.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. That gets us into the regular agenda. Okay, item A. Charlie Comfort officially announced his resignation from the City Council effective May 14th of 2025. Mr. Comfort's term ends December 31st of 2025. The motion under consideration tonight is to consider appointing someone to complete Mr. Comfort's term. Since the May 19th City Council meeting, proper notice was provided to the public, so interested candidates could submit their application by May 27th at 4:00 p.m. During that time, 5 applications were received for the City Council's consideration. Wendell Campbell, Manny Garcia, Andy Holmberg, Nicholas Ryan, and Cheryl Benson. The candidates have been informed to be present at the June 2nd, 2025 City Council meeting and to be prepared to answer questions that the City Council may choose to ask them to determine the most qualified candidate. And so, at this point, what I would like to do is open things up to the council members. Put on your HR hat. So you have had an opportunity to see the applications. You know what people look like on paper. And so you get to decide whether or not you want to spend additional time interviewing any of the folks who have applied. And so I'll open up to the council members at this point if they would like to call anyone forward to the podium.
I think, Mayor, and just for clarification, this appointment just fills out the remainder of Charlie's term, which is through the end of this calendar year. Is that correct?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
And so just for clarification, if we had a 2-2-2 vote, I'm just throwing this out there, because we haven't had anything like this. Does it go to a special election then, or how I mean, obviously.
Yeah, I would.
That is,
Is there
the mechanism that we use would be one of a nomination of someone through a motion.
Okay.
And then a second, and then a vote, as we do all other council stuff. That said, is there anyone who would like to invite any of the candidates to the podium for additional questions or clarifications?
Do we have to use these questions? My HR hat.
Okay, is there someone you would like to invite to the podium?
I'd like to invite the candidates who are present and just to ask why they're running. I always like to know people's motivation. So that's all. I just want to start.
So you have the initiative on this.
Okay. So of the 5 candidates listed, who is present? Okay. And
Cheryl and Wendell are not here.
Okay, so 2 are not. If each of you would like a chance just for a minute just to say why you're running, what's your motivation? And so, yeah, we'll go.
Good evening. I'm Mandy Garcia. I applied rather reluctantly. I applied on the encouragement of friends that I've made in Oskaloosa since we moved here. We've been here 4 years in August. Pretty hard move for our family. We were a family of 6 in Kansas, and when we moved here, we became a family of 4, leaving an adult son in Kansas and then moving a daughter to college. And our first season in Oskaloosa was kind of rough, and then we just decided to kind of press in to the community. And we found the more that we loved Oskaloosa, the more that it loved us back. And so I guess some friends that we've made have noticed that and actually encouraged me to run when the Ward 4 seat was open. And then when I saw Abu was running, I love Abu and thought he would represent our ward well, so I thought he'd got it covered. And so then when this opportunity to apply for the vacant seat came up, those friends called again and said, hey, you should do that. And so I don't do it lightly. I do it with understanding that it is a big job. And so if selected, I'm willing to put in the work and get up to speed on the city issues. I'm new to city government, I'm new to Oskaloosa, and so I realize that I may not be the best candidate to choose from tonight, but I just wanted to go through the process and again, just find ways to serve my community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Andy Holberg. I put my name in the hat because I'm a lifelong Oskaloosa resident. I've lived here for over 51 years. And during my adolescent time here in Oskaloosa, I did what most kids did and went to school and played sports and that kind of thing. But as I grew up and decided that I wanted to raise my family in Oskaloosa, I quickly found my passion was volunteering and primarily in youth activities. And I have well over 25 years in just various coaching roles, different Mahaska Health Foundation. I did 10 years of volunteer work there, and in about 1997 I actually volunteered to be on the Civil Service Commission, and of that I'm still a member. I'm the acting chairman at this point in time. So I see this as an extension of just continuing my volunteer service to the community. That's just something that's been a passion of mine, as I alluded to, really all my adult life, giving back to the community and supporting the community in the different activities that are out there and available to people. I just have a passion to serve And I'm here today because I'd like to continue in that endeavor. Thank you.
So, and I think I touched on this a little bit in my speech, and I provided written answers to the questions that you guys asked. But I'm running because I've spent most of my life in Oskaloosa. I grew up in New Sharon, but most of my time has been spent here. Most of the good times that I've had have been had here in Oskaloosa, and Oskaloosa is home to more people than I can count that I truly love and that I truly care about. And on top of that, I see massive, unrealized potential in this city. For a long time, it seems like Oski has unfortunately become a bit of a one-trick pony. It seems like we have a lack of economic diversity, and a lot of our eggs in that regard are in one basket, and I would like to be a voice for a change in that regard. On top of that, to me, it seems that we've had sort of the same group of people sort of orchestrating leadership in town for about 20 years or so. After that 20 years, I don't know what KPIs you guys use to measure growth, but for me it'd be population, things like population, home values, household income. Over the last 20 years, population is either stagnated to declined, home values are significantly lower than the state average, and household incomes are lower than the state average. And I would really, really like to be part of the solution in providing a better quality of life, more dining entertainment and options, and to really put in the work to see the town truly grow and to truly thrive, not just a few people.
Other council members, any questions?
And I'm assuming just this, all three of you, and I know Andy and I know Nick, this is just a short term, but your intention is to run, you're going to try to run again. This is not just, you're not going to fill the 6 months, all three of you would like to be
I'll be running in November either way.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Any further questions?
I have one for each of them. So, if you are in a complicated situation or you are in a disagreement amongst other council members, how are you going to approach them and be able to treat them with respect to move forward on a topic that may not have gone your way?
Great. Who do you want first?
Let's go with Nick, please.
Okay.
That's a really great question and an extremely relevant one. I appreciate that. This is something I've encountered before in my professional life. Conflict is something that I'm pretty good at managing, but you know, there's the givens. We treat people with respect. We try to find if we can't agree, we try to find a compromise. But the one thing I will say is that you know, sometimes conflict is necessary. Sometimes hard conversations are hard for a reason. And at the end of the day, what is going to guide me is going to be my values and my principles, and not just, you know, trying to achieve consensus or cohesion. It is my values and my principles and what I believe is best for the community, and listening to the community's voices is going to guide how those conversations go.
Manny?
Yeah, very similar thoughts to Nick. I think unity is not the absence of conflict, and so we have to be willing to have meaningful dialogue and discussion, but at the end of the day, we also have to have respect for one another, and that's something that I encounter in my professional life every day. And so it's something that I'm well practiced in, and again, I think that we have to treat each other with kindness even when we disagree, and we don't get our way. It's not time to throw a tantrum. It's time to go back to work and find ways to move forward collaboratively.
Andy?
Well, I think that even though passions can run high, I think one of the first things that people need to do is take emotions out of the conversations and difficult conversations and or even decisions that don't go your way. I think that we all know in life you don't win everything, you don't win all the time, and so when something doesn't go your way, you have to take a step back and evaluate what went right and what went wrong and try to take the next steps to move forward and maybe do a better job the next time. But certainly listen to folks and listen to that other side and take in that information as well, and then learn from it and move on.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council members? Do we have a motion of support for one candidate?
I'll make a motion for Andy Holmberg.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ross,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Australia delay.
Ibrahim, Ocean,
Yes.
No.
Holland,
I'm going to say no.
Algeria,
Yes.
Okay. That motion passes 4-2. Thank you to everyone who applied for this. And Andy, you'll be hearing from us in the future. Okay?
Thank you.
Did you not vote?
No, I voted. I was the first one.
Okay. Item B. This is a discussion regarding the long-term plans for the public pool at Edmondson Park. So staff is requesting direction from the City Council regarding the long-term plans for the public pool at Edmondson. The pool is continuing to age, has had some larger maintenance which needs to be addressed. Primary item of concern for operations is the pool shell. There's been leaks in the pool shell for several years, and while the rate of water loss has been manageable, it will continue to deteriorate. Additionally, the city received a report that was prepared by ISG in 2017, which identified issues such as coating, delamination, and spalling in the pool shell, which requires a larger project to address. The pool house building is also in need of repairs, primarily for the roof. The roof has begun to show signs of leaking, and due to the history of the building, will need to be repaired or reconstructed to ensure the long-term health of the structure, regardless of any decisions made on the pool. And while those two items are the primary immediate needs, there's also some concerns with the process piping, which we believe may have leaks that need to be investigated. Finally, the water slides are beginning to show signs of deterioration that will not be able to be addressed with regular maintenance. Due to the method that the city procured the slides, we won't be able to replace individual parts to maintain it in the long term, so the city will need to consider replacing the slides entirely. What do we got for options? Well, number one would be to perform the minimum repairs to the pool house roof. That's estimated at $90,000 for a full tear-off. It's possible the pool will not be able to be operated in the near future if this option is selected due to excessive water loss. The estimate could be reduced by performing a selective tear-off, but there are a number of unknowns, and the contractors have indicated they would be unwilling to guarantee their work if we go that way. Option 2 would be to do everything in option 1 and then add to it the pool shell rehabilitation. The rehabilitation work includes removing and replacing pool joint sealants, making point repairs to the concrete pool shell, and preparing and applying a new pool coating. This would reduce the leaks that we've been observing at the pool and prepare it for more regular maintenance. Coating is expected to last 5 to 7 years, but this time frame would be extended by painting the pool shell regularly. The pool shell rehabilitation is estimated to cost $140,000 for a total of around $230,000 to complete the necessary minimum repairs to keep the pool open in the mid to long term. Option 3 is everything that was in options 1 and 2, and that includes investigating rehabilitation of the pool piping. There's a significant amount of uncertainty in the condition of the process piping for the pool, and looking into televising and lining the system may extend the lifespan of the pool further and also further reduce the water loss. Televising the pipe system would likely cost around $10,000. The cost of repairs would vary significantly based on the findings, but likely repairs would be around $50,000. The fourth option is option 1 and reconstruction of the pool. The city could consider replacing the pool entirely rather than performing the pool shell rehabilitation. It would have a longer lifespan, would likely cost upwards of $2 million depending on the scope of the project, and is primarily being presented as a point of comparison. Finally, the water slides could be handled independently from the rest of the project if necessary. The slides could be closed or removed by staff at minimal cost, and the pool could be operated without them. If the city desired to replace the slides, we would have significant control of the cost based on the design of the slides selected, but expected cost would be in the range of $200,000 to $500,000. And so the recommendation we have is to discuss the desired maintenance for Edmondson Pool. That's a lot to chew on.
Good job, Mayor.
The good news is I get to stand back. So, Sean, do you have anything to add to that?
I have some thoughts on this I can share with you. I think if you can get another 5 to 10 years, that's a pretty decent amount. Another option I guess we didn't have in here is just letting it go by the wayside and then just having the YMCA pool. But I don't think that that's going to be a very popular decision.
Right.
But so if you add you got the roof for $90,000, the shell rehab 230, piping is 50. That brings you to 370. There's a hotel motel tax, and we have 150,000 that's not designated from that. So you could take 370 less 150,000, and then it would leave you with 220,000 that you could program in capital. And if I'm looking at, let's say the pool lasts another 10 years, that would be about 22,000 per year that you're subsidizing to reach that 10 years, if that makes sense. And to me, that seems pretty reasonable to get to 10 years. Hopefully we get to 10 years, right? So I think I guess that's my thoughts, is that seems like a reasonable option. And for the slide, that's one of those items that I think could be a really good fundraising activity, where someone might want to own that slide and say, hey, we want to put this slide in, and they want their name on it. I think that would be a good way to go with the slides. That's my thoughts.
Well, that's one question too, because I explain this to my husband all the time. Not spending money sometimes costs you money. So the leaks, how much are they costing us by not repairing them? I heard that last time.
So you don't actually pay for that water?
I know, but I'm paying a lot for my water, so
the matter of what it would cost is
somebody's paying for that water.
I don't think we got an answer on what the actual amount the water department was spending producing that amount.
Okay. I mean, that
But
kind of.
we do want to reduce the leaks regardless. Just it causes other issues to have long-term leaks.
Right. So not doing anything is costing us.
Well, and Sean, there was discussion on whether or not the pool's even going to open this year, right? Because of those leaks.
Yes, the one of the reasons that we specifically brought this year as opposed to previously is that as we were preparing the pool, we had more leaks than usual, significantly more when we were starting the process of opening. And typically what happens is when we start it, the leaks kind of saturate the ground and then it slows down. And that process just took a lot longer this time. We had some concerns that it might have been a process pipe that failed, and that's one of the reasons we had that in here to potentially televise that and investigate it further. It seems that now that we've been in operation, we've gone back to kind of our status quo of losing the amount that we've been losing over the last few years. So we don't have any large concerns with continuing to operate this year, but we don't want to have that problem every year coming up.
And we've been talking about this for a lot of years, the leaking of the pool.
Yeah, that's
I got a question on the pool house, because we did some work on that pool house. I forgot when that was. We did.
I bet it's been 15 or 20 years ago.
Yeah, not
Did
the
you do
roof.
the pool house when you did the pool? 'Cause I don't know if you were on council yet,
Yeah.
Jordan. I know the mayor you would have been around when the
We
pool
were-
house got renovated and the
Yeah.
pool expanded.
Now, those were two separate projects, as I remember them. The pool house was one of them. That had some historical significance, as I remember. It was a WPA project, and so we needed to be kind of careful with the way that pool house was renovated. But then later on, there was the idea of putting in the slides and making more of an aquatic place as opposed to just I think, dating myself here, a cement pond. We aren't doing that. I'm liking the ideas that you're presenting, Sean. I don't know how the rest of the council is feeling about it, but I think we have some commitment that we need to at least renovate the pool house. But as pointed out, you could have a pool house without a pool if you allow things to deteriorate bad enough. I don't think the community has the appetite to do such a thing.
Because I know we did some, in the pool house, there was some painting, maybe some plumbing got fixed again.
They replaced heaters.
Yeah, I forgot what else was done. But yeah, the roof was never touched. So, but the rest of the pool house is fine, correct? Other than the roof.
There's one thing that didn't get included in this. We have the annual masonry work that we have for Edmondson Park that we've got continuously, and after the roofing is done, we are planning on using that fund to do some tuck pointing, some repairs on the masonry for the building. So that cost isn't reflected in that because we had already kind of planned for it outside of it, but there is at least some around that.
And I think, Sean, you alluded to it, you could just do away with the pool. I think when we were planning the early childhood education rec center, that was part of the discussion, if I recall correctly, that we had with Joe on, okay, now we're building this new recreation center, YMCA. It's got a competition pool, which is good for swimming, right? When it's done. And a rec pool with a splash pad. And so is there a need for an outdoor pool? And I think there was a lot of debate going both ways, but everything, and most of the comments that I've heard is that there is a need and a desire for an outdoor pool. So that's where my perspective kind of goes, is that we need to figure out what to do. Do we, I don't really care to go spend $2 million on a pool, but I think that the consensus has been that the pool house, whether or not it's on a historical register, has a lot of historical significance to it, and it would be a shame for that to go away. And again, the ideas, funding ideas that Sean had, and the teams come up with, I think those are absolutely things that we should consider. I also like the idea of maybe the slides are a fundraising opportunity. Again, depending on the cost, but that's something I think that people could rally behind. But for the slides, we need the pool too.
Yeah. Flex tape. No, we're kidding. Yeah, I know.
So am I seeing a consensus here to pretty much what Sean suggested, right? That do the renovations and see if we can buy 10 years worth of additional life out of it. I think by that time there may be some. I'm sorry.
Option 3.
I don't know that Sean gave it an option. Did you?
So the roof, the shell, and the piping for the assemblies.
Okay, and that's
at
the
least set me up.
televising.
The televising, I guess, would be the one that I'm not sure.
I want to find out the leaks because I have to conserve my water.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just a.
Yeah, so all of that. But I think there's, if I'm reading consensus here, and Abu, I don't mean to ignore you, but if you have anything that you want to add, this is a good time for that. But there appears to be the consensus to go that direction.
I'm in that boat too. I think the idea of trying to extend the lifetime of the pool with those options that he said, especially we can prorate it over 10 years, I think sounds like a good idea. Especially considering that it seems like there's a need and not a need, but a want specifically to have that outdoor pool option. And then trying to fundraise those slides seems like a good idea.
Okay. Does that give you what you need to work with?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Moving on. Item C is to consider a resolution approving amendments to the agreement between Fox Strand and the City of Oskaloosa and this is to provide professional services for the wastewater facility plan. Fox has prepared Amendment 4 for the task order 7040.015 to the master agreement for the wastewater plant. Task order modifies the 60% of design services for the project to increase the estimate by $45,000. This is for expenses beyond what had been anticipated in that phase, and adds another $1,250,000 to the overall agreement to get us to the 90% final design phase services. Total increase, $1,295,000 to the contract. The 60% task order included a detailed design of the interiors to the structures and main functions. The 90% design will include development of final specifications, drawings, architectural plans, HVAC controls, and various regulatory tasks involved in the project. The note in here, additional task orders will be required to complete the design as the city approaches the final design of the project. Staff is recommending approving the amendment. Do you have a motion of support?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on this?
We agreed a couple meetings ago that while we're, considering what options might be out there, we need to continue designing because we've got timelines and everything. So that's why I'm in favor of moving forward.
Roll call, please.
Hermson,
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Ocean,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Drost,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item D. This is to consider a resolution approving an engagement letter with PFM Financial Advisors LLC in its capacity as financial advisor to the City of Oskaloosa in connection with the financial planning services and development of the planning models. The item is being presented as a request to authorize and direct PFM to continue as the financial advisor in connection with financial planning, budgeting, and strategic advice in planning and development of planning models. The engagement letter does outline the scope of services provided and the fees for such services. The agreement updates the engagement letter approved by Council on March 20th of 2017. The annual retainer, not to exceed $8,000, covers debt service levy calculations and sewer cash flow projections. Staff is recommending approval. Do you have a motion of support for this?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Do a pretty good job. Roll call, please.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Ocean,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Drost,
Yes.
Hermson,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item E. This is to consider a resolution approving an engagement letter with PFM in its capacity as financial advisor to the City of Oskaloosa in connection with future debt obligations. This item is presented as a request to authorize and direct PFM to continue as the financial advisor in connection with future debt obligations that are including but not limited to general obligation bonds, revenue bonds, SRF loans. The engagement letter outlines the scope of services provided and the fee for the services. Transaction fees are based on the type and amount of bonds and loans issued, payable upon closing. Staff is recommending approval of this. Do we have a motion of support?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Ocean,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Caligiuri,
Yes.
Drost,
Yes.
Hermson,
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item F. This has to do with strategic planning. The city adopted a strategic plan for the years 2024 through 2026. The council expressed their desire to update and shorten the plan. You can see why. A study session was held on April 21st of 2025 to determine which priorities the city council wants the city manager to focus his time on. A summary of the priorities is found in the attachment strategic plan session having to do with priorities from April 21st. That's a lengthy document. To gain additional clarity on the strategic plan priorities, city manager sent a survey to the city council to better understand which strategies should be kept or removed. In addition to answering the survey questions, the city council provided commentary on the survey questions. The survey results and commentary can be found in the attachments that we had in the agenda. In summary, there are 76 strategies in the plan. The survey indicated the majority of the council wanted to see the following occur. There were 42 items that they wanted to have kept in the plan, 18 where there was a split vote, 50-50, and then 16 items that we could remove from the plan. Further discussion is needed tonight. This will determine what the council would like to do with the strategies that had split votes. The city manager implemented a strategic planning software called Action Strategy. Goals and strategies have been entered into the software. Strategies have been reorganized and reprioritized according to the survey findings, and a short demonstration of the software is scheduled for tonight. So at the subsequent city council meeting, the city manager will bring recommendations on how to further simplify the strategic plan by modifying goals that are vague or confusing, not quantifiable or measurable, completed or in maintenance mode, or not in the scope of work that the city provides and better handled by other agencies perhaps, that normal city operations and strategies are duplicated. So anyway, Sean, I'll give the floor to you for this point.
Okay. All right. And Alex is pulling up action strategy for us. Okay. See that okay? All right. So I tried to outline the various issues that you all have kind of shared with me with the strategic plan, and the action strategy software helps with a lot of this. So to start off, I just want to show you how the software works, and there's a couple of examples that I have up here that Alex is going to point on. So first off, there's some items that you can see that are in green, and those are the items that a majority of you have indicated that you'd like to see in the plan, stay in the plan. The items that are in orange there are the ones that have the split vote, and then in a section further down, the items that are in red where the majority of you wanted to see those items removed. So that's what those colors represent. Now, there's an example that I put in here, and this is what it would normally look like. So if you click on that, Alex, so the first thing that you see is the status of a certain project. So is it completed? Is it on task? Does it need attention? Or is it outside the timeline? And so you could quickly see the status of a project. The next one we just mentioned is either it's a focus area, it's something that's a medium focus area or a low focus area. And then in this case, I put some notes in there. And I can't read that from here, but it's something like applicant number 1
awarded $45,000.
Yeah.
Applicant number 2 awarded $30,000.
So that's where on a project we can put those notes in that you can see, and you'll kind of understand where the project is at by some of those notes that we put in there. And then each project is assigned to a certain person, so that reduces the opportunity for there to be confusion. If multiple people think that they're trying to tackle assignments, you just make sure there's one person assigned. So it says SM there, so Sean Metcalf. And then the next spot there is the resources. So in this case, we've got the core downtown improvement grant, and I think council allocated $150,000 for FY26. And then you've got an end date. So in this case, I put the end of the fiscal year, and then you can visually see, and I just made this up, that at 50%, you see that orange color. So when you look at this, you can, in multiple ways, you can quickly see like where something is at. It's meant to make this as easy as possible. And then there's a couple other examples that we'll click on here.
This one? One right under it? Downtown master plan?
Yeah, okay. So downtown, that one, in this case, on the left, is completed. Finished doing the downtown master plan. It was 20,000. Again, I'm kind of making these numbers up right now. Just for illustration purposes, it was finished on time, so then you can see, okay, 100% that project is completed. And
So-
let's go to that.
So on that line there, to the left, where that green check mark is and that plus sign, I think it is. So also, okay, I get it. It's completed. Got it.
Yep.
I answered my own question.
And then one more example.
Okay,
So
I
this
can't see
one
this.
On the left, you
Glasses?
can quickly see that this item is outside the timeline. This one I put in some notes of, you would expect to see, okay, here's why it's outside the timeline. And then there's, of course, you got the dollar amount, when we anticipated finishing it, and in this case, 10% complete. So just to show you what that looks like. So now, with that in mind, I think the best way to go about the strategic plan and kind of addressing the various issues that we've seen there, just going at it bite size a little bit at a time. So the first question that I have for you is, are you okay with keeping the items that are in green on the strategic plan? I think that's probably the easy question. If the majority of you said in the survey that you wanted to keep it, is it okay if we keep it in there for now?
For now, but I think we need further discussion.
And that's why I didn't want to go too
Oh,
far.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So,
Get up and go.
Way to go, Joe.
I'm right with you.
Yeah.
I think we need to go further, but I didn't want to take it too far for tonight.
All right.
So, okay, so that, I kind of got the nods there, but that's okay. The second question is, the items that are in red, where the majority of you said that you'd like to see that taken out, are you okay with us going ahead and taking those out? Majority rules, or
There you
is
go.
that okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
We had too long a list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good. And then, the only other thing that I wanted to do tonight was to go through the orange ones, where it's a split vote, and just, I can share some comments that I have on those, and also get your feedback to see if we can't whittle down the split votes. And then, at the subsequent meeting, we'll go back to the items that are then in green. I guess at that point, we'll probably have only green items. And I have a variety of, I already have a bunch of suggestions of how we could consolidate some of them, or, you know, do different things with them, but we'll do that at the next meeting. So, the first one we've got on there is the implement an outreach plan for various industries to recruit to and gain support for the downtown district. And I'm going to read just the four that we have right next to each other. So identify resident and tourist shopping needs and in downtown, increase recreation opportunity attractions in the downtown district, create opportunities for events that draw and increase diverse groups of people while also maximizing the number of co-located events all at the same time. So I think that I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is mostly the chamber that is running this. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it's okay with you guys, I think we probably could take those off. At the next council meeting, one of the recommendations that I'll have in this area is, if you really want to simplify this, we could just say, implement the downtown master plan as your goal, and then we can put projects underneath that. Because everything that you have under here is in that master plan. But, so, I guess for tonight though, I'll stick on track here. So are you okay if we take those out? Is that all right? Okay.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if we go back to 3 years ago, whenever we had the initial strategic planning session, it was set up as more trying to drive a community master plan, not necessarily just the city.
Right.
And so that's how we got this really, really big piece. And what I'm trying to work through in my mind as I'm going through this is what are plan items versus action steps. I think that goes right along with what you just said, Sean. But the other thing is we've got certain things we're going to see that should be city driven, and other things that are city partnered. Right? I mean, so the chamber and Main Street, see Angie sitting back there. I mean, they're doing great things in downtown, and how do we leverage those partnerships that we have to accomplish these goals? And is the city in the right spot in that lead chair, or should we come alongside someone else who's in the lead? Am I on track there, Sean?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Or they can have their own strategic plan, the chamber, for example.
Correct.
With their goals.
Yep.
You know.
And they do.
And they do. So.
Janet, I think the work
Yeah, we have
right
it
now, right?
Wednesday and Thursday. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
The next one is under enhance the brand of the community. And the first one says, determine the identity of Oskaloosa and create a brand standard that is visible, relatable, and reflects the culture of the community. Is this one completed in your minds?
Hey, we got sunshine on the cars. The Oskaloosa logo.
Oh, the burst.
The
Yeah.
burst.
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Is on all of the traffic.
Towards-
In your minds, is this complete?
yeah,
or
I
does
think
it
it
need
is.
anything else?
There's a lot of words there. A lot of trying to be nice here. A lot of
Fluff.
Yeah, thank you. Fluff. My opinion.
I think I'm okay with the brand of the city. I think as we've talked with the different, the housing study and the different studies that we're doing. Again, how are we It's not so much about creating a brand. It's about what we're doing with the brand.
Right. And we've done a lot on the downtown, like where was I just read it, enhanced curb appeal. There's a lot of things. So I think we're in maintenance mode. I think we're in the keeping things up to par, add new things, whatever. But we got it started, and it's in maintenance mode. So to me,
Yeah, done. Take that.
Remove it.
Okay. Okay, the next one, define what a welcoming culture, enhance the quality of welcome wagons, and develop gateways that reflect the brand of the community via the thoroughfares into the city core. I did ask what the welcome wagons were, which they did for me recently. I think that's the delegate program, right? Which is awesome, and I love that. That was a great experience. I had like 20 people come to my office and just welcome me to the community, and that's
Right.
what that
Yeah.
is. And they did
was that the
amazing
welcome
job.
wagon? Is that
Yeah.
what it's called?
But moving here,
It's
as
the
you don't have anything.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was great.
Because when I moved to town here, I had a welcome wagon come to my house
Yeah.
back then.
I did not.
I didn't either.
What's your address?
No, and I thought there was a missed opportunity. I would have subscribed to the newspaper. I wanted to know hours of stores. I have all these questions that could have welcomed me to spend money here. Even to know my appliances, anyway.
So the second part of this, develop gateways that reflect the brand of the community, the thoroughfares. Do you feel like we need more work on that, or do you feel like
Well,
It's a routine criticism we hear.
yeah.
And so there are some, we all have our vision of what we would like things to be, and then there's these legalities that say no, the property owner gets to vote on that. And so even though we may have this vision, it still requires cooperation to get it done.
Yeah.
it's the appearance of it, right?
Correct.
It's like
The aesthetic.
dilapidated, it's along those lines, right?
Yep.
But
You get some.
we could offer incentives.
We were talking
Yeah.
the painting.
I'd be
we were
glad to
talking
give
about the
people
different
free
things,
paint.
Yeah, on that fairway.
Yeah.
So, I think that there's another item further down that talks about curb appeal.
Yeah.
And I think it's addressed. I think you probably could take this one off because that's addressed in what
Yeah.
you guys are
Yep.
saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Okay, yep.
So we'll get to that one in just a little bit here. Next one, so there we go. Enhance curb appeal throughout the community and develop a plan to promote the need for curb appeal. So what I thought you could do with this one is if you go back to 1.2.1, which is your green one up here, it says enhance community image by addressing building quality and property upkeep. So you guys like that one. I think you could put enhance community image and curb appeal by addressing building quality and property upkeep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That
Like
works. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
The next one is increase marketing and promotional efforts of the city and county to the region and U.S. to attract and retain persons of all ages. I need some feedback on this.
Yeah. It's.
Well, that seems almost like a chamber thing to me.
Yeah.
The-
Well, the city, on the city website, we kind of promote on there, so.
I think that's, again, my opinion. That's that partnership thing.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
Sean's in the development role with the city, but there's only so far he can take those
Right.
things, and we've got Main Street and the Chamber and the partnership with the Greater Des Moines Partnership. We're trying to hit that from multiple angles, and I think that the marketing of our community today is, while it might not be visible from the outside, there's a significant higher level of that happening today than there was 7 years ago when I came on council, and that's not
Yeah.
me. That's a concerted effort amongst all all the partnering entities. So.
Mhm. And a lot of those are business partnerships. I'd like to see what Brent was talking about, a lot more artistic partnerships and nonprofit partnerships and service organizations and all of that. I think we're missing out. If all we have is business, we're a pretty sterile community.
Like we promote the land out there, the
Certified site?
certified sites. That's on our website, I believe.
And that's a little further down.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we're doing things already. Maybe something to look at, but to me, that's maintenance mode. That's more keeping things up to date.
So this one sounds like take this one out.
Or combine with another one.
Yeah.
Maybe
But-
not all of it, but
we may
parts
need
of
to
it.
do another survey because we got to keep funneling this down.
You can leave it on for
It does
now.
seem a
but-
little repetitive to me, a little bit, like Janice said, maybe you could piece together, so there's,
Okay. So for now, we're taking this one off. Is that okay?
Or it might get combined. I mean, you talk about the certified site one being farther down. I mean, the certified site is its own
but
kind of project, but it's still development and.
But it's
again,
done.
Right.
Well,
And I'd like to know how
To
long
a
we've
point.
being
City
certified
growth.
is done,
That's
but
what I mean.
bringing people in is definitely
That's
not
different.
done.
And
That's
every
an ongoing
project
process.
with a deadline? Like how long do we give the certified site?
It's got a 5-year.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
got a
it has a
5-year term
commitment.
on it.
And then let's completely reevaluate. Maybe we could
Yeah.
do a whole housing development
But now
there
you're trying to
versus
promote it, and that's another.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's already in play. So
Yep.
they're done in those things.
The next one that I have is expand on the recreational trail to connect to Pella and Red Rock and the various Mahaska communities. How much of a priority is that one, council? I'm unfamiliar with the conversation, so
I think we have enough other things that we need
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
fix
that to
before
me
we're worried
is-
about.
In my opinion.
I think when they put this bucket together, it was like, the bucket's big, like you said, but, I mean, there was talk of putting the rec trail in Kielma or that,
Yeah,
I
that's-
mean,
You know,
That's
and
a
there's different
collaboration once
groups,
again
you
with the
know,
city
and
and the
everybody's
county
putting
and-
input in, and so that belongs to somewhere else, not the
And
city.
it's been a few years since.
Yeah.
And it's not that it isn't a bad idea.
No, it's not.
It's just that it's not the
It's
top.
Elsewhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Elsewhere.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
not the
But
top
it's something
10.
we can participate if it's being
Right.
developed,
Right.
but not as the lead.
Correct.
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. Alright. Next one is develop a communication strategy that embraces the uniqueness of the city and county while enhancing the effectiveness of communication between the city and the county governments.
Okay. I think we all communicate to one another, right? I think it's done. So like fluff there.
Fluff, Joe likes that fluff word.
I like that fluff word.
Joe's also military, so unless
Sorry.
it's an order, he doesn't.
So,
At
it
that
seems
time,
like
communication
the
strategy,
essence, like what
trying to
what the
force
council's wanting is to
conversations
have
between
good
the two.
communication with the county.
Right.
That's what we're after here.
Yeah.
So if that is what you're after, then if you look at 2.1.1, it says enhance the effectiveness of existing scheduled meetings with collaborative partners.
Same, yeah.
That's talking about our.
Yeah.
Anybody.
So I think that one is a
Redundant.
little bit.
Redundant, yeah.
I think it's redundant. The other part, because it seemed like it's two components here in this one item. Develop a communication strategy that embraces the uniqueness of the city and the county. So is that something that we want to focus on as a communication strategy? Is that what that meant, or was that not really referring to that?
My memory is that we were trying to create a priority of communication directly with the county supervisors.
Okay.
And so at one point there was a desire to structure in, perhaps quarterly meetings, just so we understand what the individual entities are working on and how we may assist or be impacted.
Okay.
And
I
we
think
did.
we've addressed it in the.
Some time ago, we-
2.1.
Yeah, I do too.
We used to do, that's kind of like the round table we was having,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you know, which is going by its wayside.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
The next item is review and update the staffing and compensation system to attract and retain top talent. And my only thought on this one is if we do want to do a staffing and comp study, only do it if we're willing to implement it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we did with the
And
police.
I'm a little hesitant on that right now, just based on the property taxes going like this. I'm a little hesitant. I guess where I'm at is I feel comfortable doing kind of like our own assessment. We can pull salaries of other communities our size, do not like a full-blown study. And what I would look for is if there are some outliers where we're really far off, that we had kind of addressed those.
I think, and actually, not to speak, but I think we did address this, right? Because when the mall first came, I think there was some salaries correct, and so I think part of this could actually, you could say, is done, because I think they did do some gapping.
Or maybe
we could clean house a little bit
or
more.
review every now and then.
Yeah.
Maybe not every.
Yeah.
I think it's almost a budget, part of
Right.
the budgeting process,
Yep.
because, I mean, there's only so much, while I would love to give Sergeant Rogers there a 20% raise
would
for
too.
for his outstanding service to the community. Budgets won't necessarily allow that, and so there's a lot of things that come into that, and I think, I don't know that there's anybody on this council that says that we've got the most competitive salaries in the state.
No.
I don't think.
No.
So we know that those are things we're going to constantly fight, and as you said, with uncertainties with state funding and the taxes and how we are funded, I see that as an ongoing, that we need to be evaluating that all the time.
Well, it's kind of like
more
we
of
did
a
with the
maintenance
police.
It's more of
Yeah,
a maintenance
yeah.
item.
Yeah.
They still have that incentive program, right?
That's a
The-
union.
The police department,
Isn't it through the
For
union?
the hiring?
was it?
Yeah,
It's
some
through
of the
union.
incentives,
Yeah.
it's less
Yeah,
than a
yeah.
year old, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So more of a maintenance item.
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Next one is collaborate with the Oskaloosa School District to promote community and school activities.
Yeah.
Let's say that that's
It's already happening.
Happening, yeah.
Next one, update the community's hazard mitigation emergency plans. I know why this was a split vote, so we heard a little bit that it sounds, my understanding is we have a good plan. It's probably more that we need to communicate it and train it out. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we could get rid of that first one and then keep the second one, communicate the framework model to the broader community. That could be something we could work on. Although I guess one way to look at it too is normally it's EMS that is.
I was just gonna say, there was
that
another
leads the way
combination thing.
on this.
Wasn't it when they were worried about, like for a tornado or we need to have the layout, we didn't have a plan of where people were going to take their brush and, was it kind of a
It's an
group?
initiative that's going on at the county level.
Right.
And so, as chair of the landfill commission, you've been involved in some of that as well, where in the event of a derecho, where does everything go? Because Cedar Rapids was in
level,
a
too.
world of hurt.
Right,
back
they
in the
didn't have
day.
a plan, so I think that's how that
And it's
picked up.
not only the county level,
Valley
the city
guys.
level too,
Yeah.
I mean, where's command post gonna be? Where's
Yes.
water, food, whatever,
Right.
But yeah, EMA gets into all that.
Yeah, so,
Which,
but that
falls into
needs to
your
involve
lap now.
everyone, so.
Yeah, and we could do our own, internal training on
Right.
what would we do, but try and work with EMA and the
Yeah, yeah.
county, attempt to bring that all
Yep.
together.
So you can make
that's
that
something
one
we can
line,
hold
you
on
can make
to
that a one-liner.
Okay. Next one is leverage the number of acres available for development purposes by communicating with others about the amount of developable land and soliciting investors, which is the chamber and development group.
Yep.
Partner with businesses to create a succession planning model for businesses that recruit and retain quality candidates for employment and to focus on a sound work-based learning model.
It's not really what cities do.
No.
Chamber.
Companies do that.
Work with the service providers to expand on and provide quality, reliable, and affordable access to broadband.
I think that was more of a county initiative, and there's the state fundings where
Yeah.
there is broadband, there is fiber going to the
Well, they
county.
use the
Countywide
COVID money
now, I believe.
as well.
They could get off.
We could support a supporter, but maybe
Support,
not
yes.
the lead of.
And it's already happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so-
right now.
And the last one we had is partner with the school district on projects such as housing rehab and student-built homes to develop the trades and interests in the community. And I know that the trades, the homes
In the school.
are happening.
Yes.
Already.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fantastic houses, Clint.
Okay.
Cool.
Very
So,
good.
I think that this is good progress.
Yeah.
At the next meeting, I'd like to do something similar, but with just more ideas that I have for you in the green section.
Perfect.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
sounds good.
Thank you, Sean.
That didn't take as long as I thought it would.
You were worried when you
I
saw this.
was worried.
I know, I was like, oh.
Here we go, putting stickers on the wall.
Yeah, we all love
Yeah,
that.
we will never budget for little stickers if I
No,
can
no.
help it. So, that gets us
I
to.
like strategic planning, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to just mention that, like, even though we're whittling some of this down, it's not to take away from what was done as a community-wide. I think that was really good, how that was developed.
I think it was terrific, but it got a little bit
Too big.
too
Yeah.
big, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, not taking anything away.
No,
from
no,
that.
no, 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 no.
Okay. And with that, we're at the end of our agenda. Usually go round robin here. Let's see. City clerk, anything?
No, sir.
City attorney, anything?
No, thank you.
Okay. City manager, anything additional?
No more hours.
You need to train him. The answer is no, sir. Thank you.
You guys have taught him that heavy.
Just real quick. I mentioned this in my weekly email, but wondered if it's okay with the council if once a month I give you a phone call just as like a check-in to connect and see if you ever have any questions or maybe there's some issue that you're having. I just feel like there's some value in connecting, and I wonder if that's okay if I call you once a month.
As long as we know your number ahead of time, because
Okay.
you know, in modern phones, I see that unknown spam coming through. I'm
Well, I
not
told
talking.
Sean, I think it's a great idea because when we used to meet before, you know, you had to try to make it, and I know we're all have busy lives, and sometimes I would make the time, and then I'd have something come up and I couldn't be there. So I'm perfectly fine with the phone. I think it's a fantastic.
Phone or email.
You can email
Give
her.
her options.
Joe doesn't like to talk.
Okay. And then the last item is there is a groundbreaking ceremony for the Southeast
Yep.
Connector, which was this Friday, June 6th
Yep,
at
yep.
10 a.m.
Yep.
Park at Merino Avenue, north of 267.
Yep.
I can send that out in an email, but I thought you guys
Yep.
probably would want to know about
Yep.
that.
I've seen that.
Okay. Very good.
I think Dan sent that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Chamber Center.
Okay. Council members, Abu, anything you want to tell?
No, nothing from me.
Okay. Lisa?
Yes, I'm going to give my, and it'll take a minute, my tale of 5 vehicles, okay? One, I live 2 blocks from the hospital, and that you see the ambulances going out, and I'm just so glad that they're doing that work. You know, you never want one until you need it, and it was nice to see that. One night, too, I could hear the fire truck sirens going off, and I was so, just pleased that we have such a good fire department. Again, I don't want you coming to my house, but glad that we have that. Third vehicle, I live on the route to the cemetery, and seeing the police officers blocking traffic and standing there saluting on Memorial Day as the VFW guys go by in their trailer and the bikers go by, and it was just a really nice moment in that. So that was my third vehicle. My fourth vehicle, I'm there at the Y after hours up on the top looking down, and this white van comes careening into the parking lot. Looked like the terrorist out of Back to the Future. Again, dating myself. And anyway, it was our Y director, Barry, working after hours, cleaning up some room, hauling stuff off in the van. He does so much work that nobody ever sees in that. So that was my fourth vehicle. My fifth vehicle, last night I'm walking the dogs, and this very noisy pickup is driving along. They got 3 multi-generational family members there. Somebody left out an ellipsis machine on the curb, and I could hear the one guy talking there. He goes, "Grandma, what do you think?" In other words, do we put the elliptical in the truck? I would really like to see the junk day come back, where we do that, or the town garage sale day, My daughter made $1,900 on the citywide Bondurant garage sale day. Okay. So anyway, I just had to laugh because, you know, Grandma might need an elliptical machine, and there it was, free of charge, sitting on the curb. So anyway, those are my 5 vehicles.
Okay.
I don't have anything.
Okay, Janet?
I want to say thank you to Chief Vaughn for putting the flags out again and your entire team. That to me is really special to see, especially as my dad was in Vietnam and he passed away from stuff from Agent Orange. So to see that and people being honored, really appreciate that. So thank you. Also, Friday after 5 is this Friday again, so please come on out, join the Chamber in Main Street. I believe that there are still opportunities to volunteer, so if you haven't volunteered and want to get involved, that would be a great event to be in. And then, as Brant said, also Art on the Square is next Saturday, so I know we don't have a council meeting before then. Just wanted to make sure that everybody is aware. It's a long-standing tradition. I think it's 54, 55 years, so 56. Wow, I should know that. I used to chair this stuff. But excited to see everybody come to town on that Saturday, and also another great volunteer opportunity as well. So.
Okay. Bob?
I just want to say, number one, thank you to the candidates who put their names in. I mean, I was impressed. We had 5 candidates, and also just the variety of candidates that we had. Some from business, some from community, and I think it gives us a nice spectrum. And I agree that I think everybody has a passion for the community, as do those of us up here too. And I think that's important. And I liked what Manny said. Unity is not void of conflict. You know, and that's something that we have to remember and we have to continue to work through. And sometimes that conflict is, you know, we think it's more than it should be, more than it needs to be, but we figure out a way to unify and work through that. And along those lines, there's a guy I follow on LinkedIn that had a post a few months ago, and I've had this printed out for a few months. I think it's just a really good perspective. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read one snippet of it because I think it really summarizes what public government and public service is about. And it says, leadership in public service means making decisions that are right for the long-term health of the community, even when they're unpopular. It means prioritizing the public good over the public mood. It requires courage, resilience, and a deep respect for the systems that hold communities together. And that's from a city manager down in Texas. And I think that's the perspective that I try to approach, and I think our council does too. And not necessarily the most popular decisions sometimes, but it's not about one decision. It's working through the strategic plan, and one impacts the other, and all the dominoes that have to fall to make things happen. And it's that long-term vision that I've got a street I would love to see fixed today, but I also know that Sean's got a CIP public works budget that is tight, and we've got to work through that and the different priorities. So anyway, I just want to share that statement. Thank you.
Rhonda?
I'd like to say too, I'd like to compliment the police. I'm a member of the VFW on the Legion, but I'm the auxiliary of the Legion, and we had roughly 250 people, and they marched. I don't know if you were there, but we had riders and we had veterans and we had our guys in the cadenced all the way down, and you guys did a fantastic job for them. I had so many compliments, and then we fed them all. It was a long day, but it takes a lot of people to help us out, and it is so appreciative. And just like Scott putting the flags up, my father was in the military, so it means a lot to me. But we don't take for granted. Like Lisa said, we take for granted. You know, I'm from a town, you don't see the cops pulling over when the funeral car comes through. And it is a very touching thing in our community. So I do want to. You guys helped us out tremendously, and you were welcome to come eat. I wish they would have told you guys that. We've had a lot of people. But I should have said this when we were voting for the candidates, and I didn't because we went right into the vote. I was on vacation. I got my driveway at 2:35 today. I didn't even realize that we had 5 candidates, and I actually know 4 of the 5 fairly well. And so for me, I'm Jan. I'm a military background. I wasn't a no for you, Andy, because I know you personally. Our kids. It wasn't a no for you, Nick, or a no for Manny, or Wendell, or Cheryl. I got elected by the people of Oskaloosa, and there was a couple things that I wrote down too. Somebody wrote down, treat people with respect. Hard decisions are sometimes hard decisions. I think everybody knows me. I've been here 3.5 years. I know the school board is going through a hard decision. They're going to make it a vote, but at least the vote will let the community decide. And for me, not that we all weren't elected and that we have, I mean, we all do I think a fairly great job here. I would have liked to have seen, since we did have 5 candidates, let the community decide. I know we only have 6 months left in the term. I know it's expensive. I know we don't have the money, but I'm just one of those I grew up very, I mean, if you don't vote, my dad said, so for me, it wasn't a no. I would have voted no matter what it was. And I should have said that before I voted, but we will get the vote, the election in November, but welcome aboard. But I'd like to see the city of Oskaloosa vote for those things. That's just me. I understand the whole thing of it.
And just to ditto what had already been said a couple of times, that the Memorial Day service that's held out at the cemetery, Forest Cemetery, is a very interesting and tranquil place.
Yeah.
And so having the parade that comes there, surrounding the pond with the people who are observing the day, the speeches that are delivered, the city band playing, the 21-gun salute. It puts you into a mindset that you don't really have an opportunity to do at home. It gets you away from your phones, the traffic, all that good stuff. Every year I encourage folks to go to it if they can, but it is a wonderful event and made good by the folks, by the veterans who organized the thing. So with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abu? Aye. We're adjourned.